Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live right here on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3 from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate you so very much. Also, big thank you to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, for the contribution of his time, his voice, and his music for the intro and the outro. His music can be found anywhere that good music can be found: Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, you name it. And if you really dig Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, he's your guy. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our logos and all the fun stuff that you see pertaining to the Outer Realm. So big thank you. And of course, we've all been waiting for this. I'm just kind of watching all the different chats come in. We welcome the return of who we consider a dear friend, of course, and a repeat guest here on the Outer Realm with an open door policy. So he can come in anytime. We just love him. So Preston Dennett is in the house tonight, and he's going to be discussing his new book, Not From Here, Volume 4. And I'll tell you what, like, Preston never puts out a bad book. So this is going to be really, really fascinating. But guys, in order to partake, you do have to get into one of 8 designated chat rooms. So you can't say you don't know where to go, because you know what? On YouTube, we've got UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, UFO Paranormal Radio, the Outer Realm Radio. Then we jump over to Facebook, Outer Realm, of course, Canada's Most Haunted, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover, News on the Flip Side, UFO Paranormal Radio, and United Public Radio. So as you see, there is quite a big selection for y'all. So go on in there, and I can see people are just like completely chiming up. Oh, hey, Penny. I'll put this one up here while we wait.
Yeah, I just got Preston. So if you're really liking him tonight, you want to catch Penny's show.
Double whammy.
Preston's going to be on there.
What
night, Penny?
I know. There we go. Dolly, hello. Janie,
hi,
hello.
Dolly. Hi, Janie.
Jessica.
Hello,
Wayne.
Jess. Hello, Wayne.
Michael.
Hi, Michael. Why do I feel like... Hi, Samantha. Why do I feel like I'm... And hi, Luca. Luca,
I know. It's like, woo.
Luca. Yeah.
Okay, where are we? Oh.
Folgers and present. Yes.
That's right. It's good.
Thank
it's
you,
good.
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. And there we go. Lucas says hi too.
Hi, Marshmallow.
Hello.
Yeah.
The marshmallow. It's funny.
He calls me Marshmallow now. It's so cute. I've called him Marshmallow from when this is my great nephew. I've called him Marshmallow from little because he is so affectionate.
Right.
And the other ones, Julian's always laughing, so I call him Patata, which is Italian for potato, because he just laughs at anything. So,
I love it.
I have my own little, Michelle and I have this thing in common where we give nicknames to everybody, regardless of whether our family knows or not.
We go to Bubbles, and it turns into Bubbly, and I think Wayne now just goes with, okay, you're talking to the unit, Bubble Unit.
Who calls
Bubbles.
her that? Oh,
Wayne, he'll go from Bubble Unit to the unit. Really depends on what's going on in the day. So as you can see,
crazy.
You know, everybody's
Hi,
in our
Tamara.
space. It's a nickname,
It's
or
so
a few.
It's so
They all wrap
crazy.
around, you know. So,
oh my gosh.
do we want to give a quick bio, Preston?
I didn't.
He's already
because
got the
he's
link.
always
So
on. Yeah.
I know.
If you
You know
don't
by
know
heart.
Preston Dennett, I'd be really surprised. I think everybody who's here knows him.
Mm-hmm.
He writes about a lot of experiences. Now I'm going to wing it because I just love this guy.
Yes.
And he's one of the best writers.
Yes.
on this topic matter. He's dealt with contactees and abductees. He's had some incredible cases, and he's been on the Kardashians. He helped Khloe with a sighting.
I
He
love
talked
it.
about that one time when he visited. So we're looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
We're just waiting on him.
with his
Anytime.
fourth
The
book.
link has been sent. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I
Fourth
know.
book, Not From Here. That is some wicked artwork on that book. If you haven't seen it, you have to take a look. Michelle posted it today because fourth book, Facebook.
Yes. Here we go.
Our group page doesn't like me today. So
no, it doesn't. It's really been giving you a rough go of it. Mind you, I think ever since they changed it.
Yeah. It's deleted my posts. It's deleted guests. It's deleted my own personal stuff on my own timeline. They nailed me for posts from June and July yesterday. Which one of them was a news story, which I didn't understand. But anyways, I'm pretty sure that one was a hit, but I don't care.
No, I know.
So it doesn't affect my life.
Here he is. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Bam,
Preston,
there we go.
Preston, hello. Can you tell we love you?
I love you too.
Oh my God, we're so excited.
Everybody's lining up in here going, yeah, right on.
My nieces are in the chat room and they're like, who's on tonight? I go, Preston. And they're like, oh, wow. Okay, we'll see you there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so relaxed because I love Preston. I said,
I know.
You make it so easy to understand.
It's true. And okay. Yeah, I kept, having this crazy date. I'm going, that's okay. Preston's on. This is going to be laid back. This is going to be like good stories. Yeah, I don't have to think. It's true, really. Because you're just easy to interview. You're just really, you can just keep going. No questions are off limits, and the knowledge of stories are endless, and we love that. So
it's also your voice. Yeah.
New book again.
Yeah, believe it.
Yeah, I do actually. I do. It's 4. I kind of was surprised at 2, but 3 and 4 was just like I'm expecting 5.
No, there's like, oh my God.
Is there going to be 10? No, of this one topic matter. Of this one.
You have to go look into the show thing. There's like, how many books do you have in here?
He's got 1,900,000 books. He's got about 1,900,000. So I'm saying, out of this one, is this going to be tell us about the book, and then I'll ask you that question.
Yeah.
I'm skipping ahead.
This is volume 4, and I think there will be a volume 5 probably next year. Yeah, I'm so excited about this series because it's different. These are volumes, these are stories that are kind of off the beaten path, sort of ones that I would call outliers, maybe.
Right.
Nice.
Not your, normal UFO stories.
No.
A little bit bizarre.
Really?
Weird.
Well, you know what?
That's a lot coming from you. You know that, right?
Yeah.
When you say it's a little bit bizarre. I love this. Michael Kennedy says, Folgers and UFOs with Preston is such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Such an amazing guest.
There we go. Try to get them all up there. Don't let it distract you. Just keep going. So, I mean, a lot of your stories, though, when you make mention that, okay, these are just sort of off the beaten path, and many of your stories from the people who come to you tend to be exactly that, like some of it's pretty, oh yeah, we've heard similar things, but you have really unique stories. I mean, Dolly. There's you.
Love Dolly. I just like saying hello, Dolly.
Yeah, I know. Every time she goes to Dolly's, I want to break out in song.
Every show. Hello, Dolly.
Yeah, there we are. She's in the house. So, you do end up getting a lot of people. And I imagine the more books you write, the more interviews you do, they just continue to gravitate. So these stories are pretty much, in tune with the people who come to you. But you do have some, kind of bit of different things in there, because I went and cheated and listened to a couple of other interviews. So I have to say, yeah, no, it's homework. So where do you want to start with this? Because it's pretty jam-packed with really great stuff. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll never be able to cover it all.
I know. That's why I figured I'll let you just take it away.
Yeah, well, I mean, it continues the theme of the other books. From volume 1, there were stories like Phone Call from an Alien or Alien Zoos, Extraterrestrial Gardeners.
There,
I
yeah.
think volume 2 had UFOs over prisons.
They have
Fertilizer thing
prisons?
got me. What's with the fertilizer? I have to ask. It intrigues me the most. Aliens and fertilizer just don't seem like they belong together.
Right? That's something that I always wanted to explore a little bit because, of course, the very famous Betty and Barney Hill case
Yes.
really introduced to the world the idea of onboard UFO encounters.
Right.
Yeah.
Had this weird question to it.
Okay.
They had gone out on an unplanned vacation and they had this really close-up UFO sighting and didn't realize there was missing time at first. But we're starting to come around to the, as she's having dreams and he's kind of freaking out with some anxieties and ulcers and what have you.
Mm-hmm. It was a significant time loss.
Yeah, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there were little shiny spots on their car. And
yes.
His shoes were scuffed. Her dress was ripped. I mean, there was no doubt something happened.
Right.
But then guys show up who are one of the first investigators, really, who showed up to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
This was Robert Homan and C.D. Jackson, who were scientists and really interested in the UFO field, but kind of on the down low, and started asking them all these weird questions.
Right.
And one of them was, do you have any nitrates in your car? Anything to do with fertilizer? And
random question. Yeah.
That's what both Betty and Barney thought. They're like, these guys are nuts. What are they talking about? No, we don't have anything like that in our car.
Right.
What Barney had was a few, he carried a gun and had some shells in there.
Mm.
And after they thought for a while, they're like, oh, wait a second. We do have a bag of fertilizer in the car.
Okay.
Home
so not far off.
Yeah,
so what are the aliens after? Betty and Barney or the fertilizer? Which one was the collateral damage?
We all have to hide our Roundup, right? Like what? We're already not allowed to have it in Canada, so like I'm wondering about that now.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing, actually.
Right. It is.
Yeah, it's been years. It's been years.
Right.
This was a weird thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this turned out to be a big question because according to Homan and Jackson, they had interviewed other people who were somehow involved with the fertilizer or nitrates industry and had encounters and missing time.
Mm-hmm.
So they were wondering if there was a connection, and sure enough, they did have this bag of fertilizer. Betty's
easy food for transferring flora and fauna. Oh.
The light just went off over Bubbles' head.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, what is it? Easy food for transferring flora and fauna. So are we getting to this where they're trying to plant something on another planet? They're trying to
we know
vegetation.
Plants. I mean, in a previous Not From Here chapter, I talked all about that, where they're coming down and picking lavender flowers out of Maurice Mass's field, or stripping the leaves off of this lady's Swiss cheese plant, or split leaf philodendron.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all for the lavender. I mean, they got great taste.
And it was weird that they're picking flowers and leaves and twigs and all this stuff. So
wow.
I started to really wonder about the Betty and Barney Hill thing, because that was never really followed up on.
Mm-hmm.
Their niece, Kathleen Martin,
yes,
mentioned this as well when she wrote a book with Stanton Friedman on this.
Yeah,
but it was never answered, so that it was kind of just left there.
But yet they asked about it, so there must have been relevance.
Well, I dug into the literature because I want to find out if there is any connection here.
Okay.
Turns out there's this really bizarre case, which is fairly well known, which totally speaks towards this. And that occurred on August 24th, 1964.
Mm-hmm.
There was a dairy farmer by the name of Gary T. Wilcox out there, monitoring his fields. putting out
Right.
manure and stuff.
Mhm.
Sees a flash of light, and sure enough, this ship comes down. It's hovering about 4 feet above the ground. He walks right up to it and walking around it, trying to figure out, is this Air Force? What is this thing?
Right.
Because he was in the military, and that was his first thought.
Right.
But then out step these guys who are fully uniformed from head to toe, and their face. Can't see their face. It's completely
Hmm. Right.
They start talking to him in flawless English, no accent. And he said
Right.
they actually had a good hour and a half long conversation, some of which he absolutely refused to tell investigators about.
Hmm.
Said it was very personal. But the
Wow.
MPs did give him a few predictions, like an astronaut would die in the future, short future, which turned out to be true.
Wow.
They also were questioning him about what he's doing to his field. What is this fertilizer you're putting out? He explained, oh, this helps our plants grow. And they said, well, we actually derive our nourishment from the atmosphere.
Oh,
Which was badly misquoted in the literature, where,
Yeah.
oh, they're growing food in the air. Like, no, that's not what he said.
Right. Right.
They asked him for a bag of fertilizer towards the end of this conversation.
It's just so
Oh, that
bizarre.
is so funny. You see a spaceship just pull up to the local Home Depot. It's
Oh
just
my-
a little bizarre. It does explain why there are so many farmers that have sightings and these crop circles. That kind of starts to connect too for me a little bit. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah.
I think they are interested in, our flora and fauna,
Mhm.
how we're taking care of it, and its health and well-being. So I think,
Right.
honestly, that's what's going on here. But he
Mhm.
brought an 80-pound bag of fertilizer, and by the time he got back, the ship was gone, so he just plops it down, and the next day, it was gone. They took it.
Man, the government must think we're really stupid.
I thought I heard it all, man.
Yeah, me
This is-
too. And I
this is
interviewed her. I
fascinating.
don't remember any of that.
Oh, really?
Oh, you were.
Yeah, a long time ago, I had the great fortune and honor of being able to interview Mr. Freeman as well. So
Oh, wow.
long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. I don't remember if she said it. I would have recalled something like that is pretty unique, fertilizer.
I had to look it up to confirm it because I did remember, but I'm like, am I remembering this?
Yeah, it is way out there, but I'm glad you addressed it because it's definitely nothing that I ever would have thought that would have a connection to extraterrestrials who are supposed to be so far more advanced.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that. Why are they trying to get our fertilizer? Don't they have anything better? I mean, than poisoning your food? I don't know.
They're nerdy little scientists. They want to
I
know.
So think it's so
You
adorable.
just would think that they did know. You know what I mean? I think of them like Michelle, so far advanced. Why? I'm just learning about sourdough starter and how yeast is in the air. Nature is nature. Dolly knows. But Dolly has a lot of answers.
Yeah.
I did ask her about this, but I found other cases. I mean, there was a case which was on February 21st, 1968. This is a weird one, where a 12-year-old girl hears something outside her window. This is in Winstead, Connecticut. And wakes up, looks out the window, and there's this craft landing across the street. A little beam of light comes down, and about a dozen 3-foot tall suited figures come down the little beam like a ramp and walk to the building across the street. It was an abandoned railroad.
Look at
Wrong
that.
one.
We're important enough to get porn spam, everybody. Sorry, Preston. This is the one I meant to put up. Was
That
right
went
here.
really fast.
But the porn
They're
slid
really
in there
nailing
first.
us. That's how you know you're popular, Preston. That's how you know
When you're
you're
getting
popular.
spammed, yes.
You get tons of spam in the chat room.
Okay, so please continue. I apologize for all that excitement.
No worries. This was in Winstead, Connecticut, and the 12-year-old girl. I don't know her first name. It's her last name is Amato, Miss Amato.
Okay.
And she sees these little guys coming out of the craft and going towards this abandoned railroad station that's actually being used to store nitrate fertilizer. And they walk up the sides of the building, they climb up, hand over hand. Like they had little suction cups on their hands.
Wow.
And they all go, and they're crowding around the skylight, looking down at the fertilizer.
Okay, that's different. Looking down at the fertilizer. They're sizing it up from the house. I love
bizarre.
it.
It's bizarre, but I get it. That you've explained it. It makes total sense. It's just like Michelle said, you think it's so far advanced. Maybe their method of growing something would be much more advanced and cleaner than ours because our planet is so polluted. And fertilizer is scary.
There was the contactee Howard Menger, whose case is very controversial. Some think he's a hoaxer, but he has outside witnesses, and he devoted a good portion of his book to talking about fertilizer and how the ETs he met are very interested in gardening. And I did find another case of a Mexican farmer who said he received a secret formula from ETs, which turned out to be this mental meditation thing, which he would do over his seeds. But he became internationally famous and still is because he was able to grow vegetables and produce about 4 times the normal size.
Look how they're helping us. Yeah.
By meditating with the seeds.
The vibrations. The energy.
Frequencies. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Doing it all wrong. It's something just so simplistic when you think about it, but it's I don't know. To me, the whole thing, like I said, just fascinates me because it's definitely nothing I would have connected. And I love when you come on because it's just
going
always
to say that. I just
like,
love Preston.
Yeah,
yes.
It's learning.
They're weird, offbeat cases.
You weren't kidding.
You know what though? This weird case, and it's going to sound so silly, humanizes them a little bit. Like I'm not as intimidated or fearful of them because they're trying to help. And Dolly says, "Hello, Dolly." I can't help it. They compost, they recycle, they reduce, reuse, and keep their footprint slight too. I think it's very important. Everybody should take a heads up from that one. Yes. And Michael Kennedy said little green thumbs.
Little green men with little green thumbs.
That's a good one. You need to steal that for your next volume. That's a good one.
I know. I love it.
Volume 5, little green thumbs. I love it. They're actually long, aren't they? Long, large green thumbs. But yeah, I love that. That was really good. Gardening. Are you in marketing, Michael? I'm just curious. Oh my God, that is such a marketing comment. I love it.
Okay, so we're out there with the obscure. We've got the fertilizer thing, which to me has to be at the top of the list. What else have you included in the book? I think you make mention of levitating cars or cars being taken up.
Yeah.
They want your cars too.
They
Specific cars?
don't want an old Hummer, do they? Because I can leave the garage door
I know.
open.
It's like, or a Maserati. What is it?
Yeah, no, I'll take the Maserati.
There was a case in England where a guy says they did take his car and he never got it back.
No way, really?
Oh, that is so funny. Probably to take it apart, right?
I don't know about that case because it's absolutely unique. I haven't heard one like it.
My dog just choked. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did find like 30 cases of what UFO researchers call car lifts.
Right.
And this is, there are cases where people are taken on board and they take the car and all right into the craft. And that's not really what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
I'm talking about something a little different.
Okay.
Like lifting your car and never giving it back. Because, lifting can mean thieving too. Just saying. Putting it out there, people.
It's more like, AAA, UFO AAA.
Right.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
Here's a case that really kind of freaked me out.
Interstellar car theft from Tamara.
No, they're not stealing.
They're not stealing. They're observing.
I'm not sure exactly what they're doing. I honestly think it's a little bit practical joke and a little bit, hello.
Right.
We're recycling for you. This is a bad vehicle. Do we know what brand model that?
Right.
Here's the case that really had me scratching my head. I'm like, I need to look into this because I'd heard of a few cases, right?
Right.
But this one occurred in 1959 to 4 teenagers, 3 or 4, who were traveling through Nevada near Tonopah, this little town called Goldfield. They're driving out through the desert. It's late at night, and they got caught in the sand with their pickup truck. And they tried to dig it out, but of course they couldn't. Like, well, I guess we'll just have to walk into the town. We'll send one of us out to Goldfield tomorrow morning to send help. And they're waiting there, and they're just talking, and the subject of UFOs come up. They're like, wouldn't it be cool if we saw one? And sometimes that can bring them down because they're listening. They're watching.
Michelle's been trying. It's not working.
Keep trying.
Are you kidding? Have you been to this house?
No, I mean, they come now.
Oh my God. Man, my nights have never been the same. Sorry. Go ahead.
It could happen. But yeah, so one comes down and it shines this beam of light down on their pickup truck, pulls it up out of the sand, puts it over like 10 feet back onto the road.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
really helpful.
Where were they when I had a flat?
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
So-
Now I'm going to keep that in mind.
I was going to be telepathically, I need a lift. Yeah.
there's a lot of cases. There was a really world famous one
Okay.
right when I got involved in this field, which was like 86.
Right.
By 1987, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, it's real. All these people are seeing this stuff. People, my family, my coworkers. So I'm buying a darn book. I'm joining all the UFO organizations. And then 1988 rolls around. This family of 4 is driving through a very remote part of Australia. It's called the Nullarbor Plains. And nothing grows there. And there's nobody out there. It's this huge stretch of highway. It's the middle of the night. There's Faye Knowles and her 3 sons, who are pretty much adults. I think one's like 19, others like 21, 23, around there. And they see this car. They pass this car, and this UFO is chasing this car down the road. They're like, oh my God, did you see that? So they pull a U-turn to check it out. And this UFO stops chasing the other car and basically comes after them.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
UFO car chase.
So they pull a U-turn, and this UFO comes zooming at them, lands on top of their car, and pulls it up in the air, 6 feet, and carries them down the road.
Oh my God.
They weren't taking them aboard. It's just giving them a lift.
Just like, are you kidding? I want a lift.
Come on, you said that was like the most shocking of all of this. They're just getting it right.
Sounds like it's incredible.
It is.
Is
I
there
love
any
this.
idea like why they do these things, or are they just random pranksters? Like pranksters,
Maybe when he did the U-turn, they thought they were lost. Let's go help them. Let's bring them back.
I'm only saying this half as each. I think they might be teenagers, really teenage grays or whatever.
Right. All right. Everybody's getting into some mischief, shenanigans.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
I did ask Dolly about this because these kids, I'm like, I need to know what's going on here.
Dolly, you got the darn helm.
My theory was that, this is either a prank or they're showing off in some way.
Wow.
They really it's a really in your face, like, we're here.
And it's a definite ET, not a military craft that did this.
Showing off, she says.
Saying showing off.
Yeah.
She says showing off. Okay.
See, that to me, though, shows a real sign of like characteristics. Like people, I love how you come on the show and you add this element of humanism in a way. Like we share all these same characteristics. We also, humans, we can be show-offs, we can be curious, we can be, annoying, we can do silly things,
We're really good at annoying, aren't we?
We can definitely be. But I love how you give them a sense of humanity. I love how you can connect us all with them.
Well, that's what they are. They're people. They're
Yes.
very much like us, much more like us than different.
Right.
I think they share pretty much the same characteristics right down the line.
Right.
As I always say, their behavior falls under the same umbrella as human behavior. They do what we do, except they're not so violent and nasty.
Oh, so and they're healthier too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And some of these cases are so weird. Here's one of the ones that I'm like, what is going on here?
Okay.
Wait, this one wasn't okay.
Oh no!
I'm bracing myself because this is going to be weird.
Nothing beats the fertilizer. I'm just sticking to that one. But go ahead.
Well, listen to this.
Okay.
1973, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Two couples decide to leave a party that's gotten a little bit too wild for them. They're not drinkers or smokers, so they're leaving.
Right.
They're going down the street late at night when this light comes over their car and lifts their car up and sets it down. Then lifts it up again, just a couple of feet off the ground, and sets it down again.
Mm-hmm.
The wife turns to the husband and is like, what are you doing? And he takes going up the steering wheel. I am not doing anything. It's that. And they look up and there's this object. And it proceeds to lift their car up and set it down at least a half dozen times. Over and over and over.
It makes me laugh because she's blaming him. What are you doing? I don't know.
How could he do that anyway?
Yeah, really.
Oh gosh, I think they're just telepathically picking up. Oh, we can start a bit of a domestic situation over here. Let's roll with this one.
They're having some fun.
And it gets weird like that. Not even kidding.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Catherine Burke of Altoona, Pennsylvania, 1983. She's driving along. This silver saucer comes down and lifts her car up, not all the way, just onto its left two wheels. So she's driving at a 45-degree angle.
Oh, that would make me pee my pants. Yeah.
I'd be just like, what the hell? I should start drinking if I'm not.
So they've done that a few times. Once on the right wheels. Twice, two cases of them lifting up just the back of the car. So the person's driving on their front, the front two wheels, doing their best to steer while the car is like. Are
you sure it's not a toddler driving that craft?
I'm not. I am not. I'm telling you. Especially when it goes up and down.
Think about it. Toddlers play with cars that way, and it's starting to sound like there's a toddler.
On board the ship. I get real cars.
Full strength. Oh. Yeah, they're learning how to lift cars. I don't know. The one where it drops up and down. What keeps coming to my mind is there's one little gray pulling him up, and the other gray like, no, stop, puts him down.
See, that's a whole different kind of joyriding right there.
I don't want to be a part of that kind of joyride, though. Good Lord.
That's
a lot of cases. I think one of my favorite was two race drivers. This is one of Argentina's most famous cases. Carlos Acevedo and Miguel Moya had entered this car race and had to drop out due to car trouble. Get their car fixed. They're heading back. This UFO drops down, picks their car up 6 feet off the road, and goes down the road for several miles, carrying them, and then sets them down.
I'm not surprised. South America, Argentina, Peru, Brazil, they're loaded, like Chile, loaded with UFO stories down there, because I think they've been a little bit more open to discussing it than we have been up here in North America, sort of thing. But that's an obscure this whole lifting thing. That's just weird.
There's a couple of cases in Canada too, just saying.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, Barbara Smythe, 1969, of Alberta, Canada.
Of course, it's in Alberta, so crazy in Alberta. Love you all, but the good kind of crazy. Just saying.
Oh my God.
Good kind of crazy.
40-foot wide object comes over her car. She realizes her car is floating off the road, and this UFO carries her car for 1 full mile before setting it back down again.
What is the point? gas mileage, saving on some fuel. We can use that now. Let me tell you, cost of
Oh
fuel.
my gosh, yeah.
We can use
Do it.
that.
Why not? It's funny. I think it's actually a sense of humor.
It is. It is.
I'm telling you, it's a toddler at the wheel.
I can tell you that people who it happens to don't think it's very funny.
No.
Oh, no kidding. I mean,
Like,
depending on the car, I'd be like, I'd be okay with one car, but the baby out in the back, I don't think I'd want to take a chance on that flying around at all.
No, like, how do you explain that story to people? Like, how do you tell people my vehicle was lifted and dropped without looking totally insane? Or
so I found 20 cases. I think you can times that by 10.
Wow.
Because I mean, would you tell anyone?
Well, yeah, that's just me, though. Nobody would believe me, though. But I mean, I talk about the weirdest things. I don't question anyone because I talk to dead people. So who am I to say that something is not happening to you? I'm just amazed at how I didn't realize that it was that almost juvenile to a point with the lifting on the side and the back, or, and how helpful is incredible. Like when Nikki Jacobs wrote, "Pee your pants." Now that's one fire way to get you back into your home from an ET abduction. They really fast. They hate it when humans have to pee.
Nice.
Well, they'd be in trouble with me because I'm like every half hour. Tolly says, they will get your attention. This is important. And there's a reason for it. Is there always a reason for it?
I think so. I think that was my sort of conclusion. I'm like, they've got to be doing this on purpose. There's a couple where, in one case, where the UFO swoops down and goes up, and the car ahead of another guy just lifts up and gets thrown into the ditch. I think he may have
in the ditch.
Magnetic wave. But
maybe they moved him out of harm's way for something else, though. Maybe they're interfering to keep people safe.
Could be. Here's a really cool case.
Okay.
1995. I mean, some of these are fairly recent. This one occurred in Rio Grande, Colorado. It's all over the world. I've got cases in Europe, Australia, South America, Canada, all across the U.S.
Yeah.
This guy's in his big rig truck. I mean, a big truck. Sees a UFO, and he hops out to take a look at it. And as it comes lower and lower, he's like, "Oh, it's a UFO!" And freaks out and jumps into his truck and starts to, race off. But he's not going anywhere. And so he looks down, and his truck is 6 feet in the air. They don't usually do it much higher than that.
Okay.
Thank
you.
That is a common thing, though, saying 6 feet or a few feet in the air. So they're almost saying we're not going to hurt you. But I mean, 6 feet in a car is still a drop.
Yeah, well, they have dropped some people. I mean, in the Knowles case, they dropped the car hard enough where it did blow a tire.
Yeah, of course.
And another, the windshield cracked and the whole undercarriage was crushed.
Not fun.
One guy's had it happen in a U-Haul truck that they rented.
Oh,
how do you explain that?
Yeah.
The rear axle.
That's like my dog ate my homework.
Wow.
Right? Like, oh, wow. That must have been difficult.
Okay. They're okay. Your stories are very obscure. You're not wrong. These are definitely some strange ones.
I'm telling you, if it was one or two, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, right." But I mean, I have some of my own cases. There was a case in Topanga Canyon during a wave of sightings that I personally investigated, and a couple, they were lifted. They said it came 50 feet over their car, pulled it right up, and in their case, I think they were taken. They did have missing time.
Oh.
So that does happen in some of these cases. One car was lifted and it was pulled up vertically, so it's not like this. It's going straight up.
Right. Well, because that would not be terrifying. Going up like normally, I think I could take a little bit more than feeling like you just feel more helpless. Not that you don't feel helpless 6 feet out there in your car flying around down a highway. But I think I could handle a little bit better than going up vertically. And you really see it coming, They're just opening up and just going in. I don't know.
They were sprinting on that one. That was a little.
Yeah, be like, okay.
Dropped down hard enough where, the windshield cracked, the undercarriage got damaged, and it dented the cement. I have pictures of that. So.
Wow, really?
Don't they have driver's ed? Like, Dolly says young pilot. Nikki says young pilot. You know, Tamara wonders if the people got whiplash. That's a good question. The ones that were dropped.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
A couple with minor damage,
Right.
but no permanent damage other than perhaps a little trauma for a couple of them.
A little trauma,
luck with your
having aftercare, like counseling. You know, like, okay, I like the one about ET hitchhiking ETs.
Oh yeah,
That's hitchhiking ETs.
Yeah, it's just something I really wondered about because I've heard of a few cases, so I dug into it. And I'm like, oh my god, how many are there? There's like a dozen, 15 cases that I found, which always means there's more.
Right.
But one case involved a gentleman, a military officer by the name of Virgil Atkinson. This was in Santa Monica. Gosh, I know exactly where this happened. I've driven that exact stretch of road. And 1956, he sees these two, what he thinks are sailors, hitching a ride. And, you know, being a military guy, he's like, okay, I'll give him a lift. And he's looking at them. They look a little strange. You know, they're very, very young.
Right.
These guys didn't look like they were more than 16. And they started talking about how they were going to go to Coos Bay facility, which had just been put in commission, and later he would go up there. So that was a weird synchronicity. But he said they were very fair-skinned, very light blue eyes, very kind of whitish hair, a little peculiar. They looked almost like twins, which comes up in these, you know, human-looking ET cases. And so they said, okay, you can drop us off here. And he drops them off, and no sooner does he drive off, the UFO comes down and starts following them. So he thinks they were ETs.
Right.
I don't know. That's kind of a little bit of an ambiguous case. But there are some that are not nearly as ambiguous. This group of brothers, well, 3 brothers and a cousin, had gone to a wedding, and they were packing up all the chairs. They were part of, you know, the crew to set up and break it down.
Right.
So the wedding ends. They're putting all the chairs in, and this guy walks up in a cowboy hat. He's like, "Can I have a ride?" And they're like, "Hey." They don't normally give rides, but they did.
Right.
So they're driving away with this guy they don't know, and for some reason had a strong impulse to pull off their route and take a longer route. This turns up in about half of these cases where people go the wrong way. And they're driving along, and they come upon this UFO. And they're like, oh my God. And they're all looking at each other, and the hitchhiker is missing at this point. They're like, how did he get out of the car? You know, they see him walking up. And he's now dressed up in this full-on jumpsuit. And there's another guy in a full-on jumpsuit. You know, full, you know, like people describe a diver's suit, I guess you might say.
Right.
And
So they're humanoid. From what you're saying, they're humanoid.
And yeah, most of them. They're the human-looking ones. You know, called Nordic. I don't like that term because it's true. Because they're all different ancestries.
Okay, so I thought that was a little rough too, because you're just assuming they all blonde flowing hair and blue eyes. And
no, one guy pulls over, felt compelled to pick up this guy, and he was not normal at all. He was not pretty. He had big goggly eyes, really weird oily skin, 6 fingers on each hand, was speaking weird language that the guy couldn't understand. He was like, where are you going?
Because you want to let that in your car when you're driving by yourself.
Well, he did it. And he's like, where do you want to go? And the guy just points straight ahead. Never really talked to him. Had a weird odor. I mean, everything about him was strange. Big, huge eyes. Weird.
So he was compelled to pick him up.
Yep.
Right.
In these cases. And ends up dropping him off, and he disappears into the bush, and he's gone. There's nothing out there.
Right.
Could they impart that onto you, that you feel the need to assist them without even realizing? Yeah, telepathically.
It's really weird. Some of these, I would say most, occur in very remote areas. Not all. But these two ladies were driving through the Arizona desert, and there's nothing out there, right? And they're single ladies and don't normally stop to pick up male hitchhikers. But they did. There was this beautiful man. I mean, he was really handsome.
There we have it.
Well, he would have to. He would have to be for you to pick him up.
I feel compelled.
This
to pick
is
you
a
up.
little
All right,
Thelma and
okay.
Louise to me, though.
It was weird. They both thought it was weird.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
he was
Especially in the middle of nowhere.
there was no way he could have gotten there. And he had blonde hair and blue eyes, and fair skin, and was very muscular and was wearing a strange jumpsuit. And he starts
Sounds like Fabio.
yeah, very Fabio looking.
It's like,
Fabio.
So we're driving along, and he says, "You don't need to worry. Everything's going to be all right." And that's when they notice their car is lifting up, and it's off the highway, and it's going straight up into this craft.
Oh my gosh.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Because
And
that's not unnerving.
What happened after that? Did they say? Do they remember?
Yeah, they were taken on board. They were examined. She was told that they wanted to work with her. She had no reason to be afraid.
Right.
It was a long, involved case. She ended up having a lot of contact after that.
Right.
It caused her husband to freak out. He left her over it.
Oh,
That's,
he couldn't comprehend it at all.
yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Oh,
What
I'm
I don't
sorry.
understand is, I mean, and it's probably a really generic, basic question with a really basic answer. It's just a bit strange, so I have to ask it. Why would they need to hitchhike a ride? I mean, they can pretty much, get picked up anywhere, I would imagine, especially if you're at night.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to speculate. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a curiosity.
I think it's a way just to sort of introduce them, because maybe it's a little bit less frightening if you can say, "Hey, here's a guy, and he looks good."
So,
You're sucked up.
so maybe, are you saying or suggesting that maybe it's for the benefit of the people who were given the experience more so than the individual extraterrestrial needing a lift? Really, it's just to maybe give us the experience.
Yeah, well, I don't know. In that one case with the weird oily guy with the goggly eyes,
That would be an experience I could never unsee, I don't think. But I mean, oh my gosh.
some of them are so weird. There was a case in 1973 near
Yeah.
Mount St. Helens. To Frank Bales is the witness's name. And he sees these two, what he thought were Hare Krishna guys, well, a man and a woman, standing by the side of the road, except they were like 9 feet tall, 8 or 9 feet tall. I was looking at them.
Giveaway of some sort.
They're hitching a ride, and he's like, "I'm driving a Volkswagen Bug. These guys are not going to fit." Somehow they did. He says they shut it down. And I know how that must sound, but I've got cases of that too, where they, ETs will change size, or even people go on board UFOs and people change size. That's another chapter in another Not From Here book.
Yes.
Shrinking abductees.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's a thing.
You gotta think Stan Lee got Ant-Man from somewhere.
Like,
I
that's
don't
a
know.
real thing. It's not like an essence thing. This is like a physical thing.
I think so. Anyway, he's looking at them thinking, these are not normal people, because they're human looking, except no one's that tall.
No.
Right.
They have the height of two, teenagers.
And he's pulling out a beer, and they're like, "You shouldn't drink alcohol. You're going to have huge problems with that in your life," which turned out to be true. Gave him all these predictions, like Mount St. Helens is going to erupt. They said the exact number of people who would die, which was around 50, I think, 51.
Wow.
Do you think it's almost like a Mothman, like a
Premonitions.
yeah. Or do you think they traveled back from time, like from the future back to tell them?
No, I think they
there's so many questions.
I think he was a contactee, and they wanted to really raise his spiritual awareness and have direct contact with him.
Okay.
They basically said that, and he's thinking, "Are these angels?" But then he looked and saw they each had 6 fingers on their hand, which does turn up in some of these ET cases, particularly if they're really tall. And I have a few other cases of tall ETs with 6 fingers on each hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it's interesting that they're given information. Why do you think some people are given these full-on experiences and they can retain everything, and then you have others who just can't retain a thing?
I think there's different reasons for that. Sometimes I think it's if a person is ready for it,
Right.
you know, then they are able to remember. Sometimes I think there's a purpose for it.
Right.
You know, I had a missing time encounter, and I didn't remember it. And I can't imagine that I would be like freaking out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I'm too scared. I can't remember. But I think if I did remember it, it would have shifted the course of my life, and it would have been all about, you know, trying
That
to
makes sense.
everything. When it was really my mission to talk about other people's experiences and investigate. So I think it can be really disruptive in some people's lives, and it's just not to their best interests to remember it.
Right. Dolly, yeah.
No, me, disruptive, don't remember. Remember that in case something
Because you're the
happens.
only one who doesn't remember shit, seriously. Okay, Dolly.
Dolly Saffron says, outside our dimension, their consciousness is known forwards and backwards. I remember you saying that when you were on the show, Dolly. Thank you for that. Nikki Jacobs says the Zets control
Zetas, yeah.
Zetas. Okay, I don't know species, so
Yeah.
the Zetas control the human brain extensively.
Yeah, their mental capacity
Screen memories.
off the charts. You know, they can perceive the future. We can too. We have precognitive abilities.
Yes. Yes.
But when you're going extra dimensional, they do have that ability.
Yes.
Explore the past and the future with a lot more ease.
Right.
Nikki Jacobs asks, Preston, do you have stories of abductees who have clones of themselves that the ETs have made clone bodies of the human?
No, I don't.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's in the next weird book.
Let me tell you, if they are out there and it's real,
Yeah.
Preston will have it.
I do know
you. Your collection is extensive. Pardon?
RD6 Killer Clark, who has interviewed a lot of indigenous peoples, does have 2 cases like that.
No clones.
I don't know that I've ever run across that. So
that's interesting. No clones. Dolly's
hybrid,
very,
yes, clone,
it's capitalized too, so she freaking means it.
Yeah, she wrote no clones. That
No clones.
definitely
No.
wants to get her point across.
No, and another no. Adamant.
Oh, Nikki Jacobs said, then Preston, you and I need to talk because I have those experiences.
I think they may show you yourself. So that could be what's going on here. It's not necessarily a clone. A person might perceive it that way. But no, I personally don't have any cases of that.
What would they have to gain by doing that? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm asking a question. Like, what would they have to gain? They would gain ill health. You know, the world we live on is nuts right now. So that's putting it kindly. And it's filthy. And we're cruel to one another. Why would they want to be one of us? Unless it's to intercept and fix things, but they can do that without cloning.
Yeah, she says.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
No.
I do know they can make you perceive them as someone else. I do have a case where a couple from North Hollywood, or sisters actually, had grays come in, and one of them looked like her mom, but she knew it wasn't her mom.
So they mimic just like the dark side does.
It's a screen memory.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Clones do not live; they die quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know that because you know, we've tried to clone animals here, and it has not gone very well.
Yeah. There we go.
And Dolly said the same thing you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's.
Dolly, no relation.
Yeah. No. That's a whole other show.
One of the first animal clones. It was really famous back in the day.
I remember that.
Yes, yes, I do.
It was the first one. Everybody was that just freaked the Catholics out, and I'm Catholic. That just freaked them out to no tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
There's companies saying, "Well, we can clone your pet." I'm I'm like,
How about no?
Have you seen Pet Cemetery? Am I the only one with pop culture references? Like, seriously, people. Pet
Hold
Cemetery.
on. Okay, this is what she's saying.
And Nikki said, no, they put my consciousness into my 32-year-old or 34-year-old or 36-year-old body. I have woken up in my 32-year-old body standing next to an 8-foot reptilian ET. Wow.
That's Dolly?
That's for Preston and Dolly.
Yeah,
I've
Preston's
got
going, I don't know.
nothing. I've got nothing.
That's maybe you guys should all connect. I don't know. It's interesting, but I do believe in the perception thing. Absolutely. There is there we go. Okay. Yeah.
My lab.
Yeah. So the perception thing, I am a big believer in. I believe that a lot of because it's very tied to the paranormal, with certain beings being able to make you perceive what they want you to see. For example, every situation is different. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I did have an OBE once where I was an ET.
Right.
But honestly, my perception, my impression was that was a past life.
Right.
So that could be some of what's going on here in some of these cases. I'm not saying that's going on with what Nikki's talking about.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I have to really dig in before I draw any conclusions.
It's fascinating. This is I mean, I've heard of what Nikki's talking about, but it's usually definitely something more human based that's going on. There's a lot of stories. Again, a whole other show, with that sort of thing.
I've scoured the literature, and I don't have really enough cases like that to say that
to make an opinion.
But I don't know. There are a couple. I mean, I didn't talk to the people who RD6 Killer Clark talked to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There are hitchhikers. I've got a bunch of cases of that.
Let's go.
There was in Ukraine, actually.
Take it. Yeah.
July 25th, 2001. Father and daughter are driving along, and once again, here's this tall, blonde, handsome guy hitching a ride.
Right.
And the daughter's like, "Stop, Daddy, stop." He doesn't want to, but
of course not. Yeah.
A babe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he gets in the back seat and starts talking in a weird language. He pulls out this device that's clearly not normal, and he's doing things with it. And the father thinks this guy is crazy. There's something wrong with him, and wants to stop the car and kick him out. But of course, at this point, they feel like they can't. They're not in full control. They are not able to move at one point. As the car is pulled over, he steps out, starts picking plants, putting them into the box, and comes up to them and says, "Thank you," in Russian. And big beam of light, which knocks them out, and they wake up the next morning. But yeah, he hitched a ride, and they drove for a few miles.
Wow. Pick plants.
Very, very strange.
Yeah, that's different. I understand, again, if they're trying to give give that person or that individual the experience, because I'm still trying to figure out how it's benefiting them, in the long run, because I don't really think they need to do that. I think they're evolved enough that they wouldn't need to, unless it's for our benefit as the experiencer, right? Which to me, I think is great. I've seen crazy things on the road, but if I get one of those, I know exactly where I'm going to send that story to. It's like,
I'll share something with you that I've never told anybody.
Woo! Right here in the outer realm, yes.
This is an experience I had.
Okay.
Where I was driving to my sister's. I'd gone to visit I have a sister in Kansas, and a sister in Colorado.
Okay.
And so I visited the sister in Colorado, and I'm driving to go to Kansas. And there's this stretch of highway. I think it's Highway 40. There's an 80-mile stretch where there's nothing. It's scary nothing, right? And it's a narrow highway, 2 lanes, no cars in front of me, no cars behind me. And I didn't have as much gas as I should have. I started to get really nervous.
Oh.
And 40 miles in, and there's not a structure anywhere. This is desert. And suddenly there's someone on the road in front of me, right? And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what the hell? Because this is 40 miles in, right? And there's nothing there. The only thing were those giant windmills, the
turbines.
Right? Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
There was a house. There was nothing. And this guy, he's a black guy. He's kind of Rastafarian. He's got a little knit cap on, tie-dye shirt, and he's pushing a Subway cart.
What?
Subway sandwich cart. This is 40 miles into nowhere. This is impossible.
Okay, I'm going to put this on the
Did he have subs? I've always got to be the comic relief when I get nervous.
I mean, I don't
Rastafarian, Dolly
I don't know
says.
if that was an alien or what, but this cannot be normal.
No. No.
I kind of regret stopping, like, hey, can I get a sandwich?
That's what I thought of right away, because I'm always thinking about food, but yeah.
Okay.
There's no way that guy could push a Subway cart 40 miles. Because I immediately looked at the next mile marker. It was 40 miles, so that was like 39 and a half.
Right.
It was another 40 miles to get out of that place.
And you hesitated on gas. Did you learn your lesson?
Yes. That's my second time. Because when I drove out to Area 51 once, I had 3/4 of it.
Dolly's laughing with me. So. I said, did you learn your lesson on the gas? You always take backup.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
When I was going to Area 51, I had 3/4 of a tank of gas in my little Daihatsu, which I think, okay, this gets 300 miles to the ground.
Right.
Excuse me, yeah.
So you're doing the math, it's working.
And I barely made it to the next gas station. And it was such an old gas station, the nozzle wouldn't fit in my Daihatsu. I had to arc the gas over into my...
Oh, no.
holding it up with a pen.
Right.
So, my gosh.
I've never run out of gas, though, I will say.
Oh, thank gosh.
Kudos to you. Yeah. That's
scary
really
that far out.
Yeah, that's a different sort of experience.
When you're traveling, don't get below a half tank. My advice.
Oh my gosh.
Take
kidding.
What are they called, those jugs? There's a name for them.
And avoid the guy with the Subway cart in the middle of nowhere, because there's something wrong with that picture.
With the weird grin, because
that's what Dolly says.
Yeah,
she goes, it was grinning. Yeah. That's what she says. And then she says also, after you make mention of that. So yeah, that would be a little bit wonky for sure. Yeah, I was like, okay. So the hitchhikers are that's definitely different. We like to think that we have control over our thoughts, but in this case, it just seems to be, doesn't matter what you want, you're just compelled to do it.
He's a Native American. He's driving through Arizona out in the desert.
See, that's a desert thing again, like Australia. Okay.
This is a little, a 1 hour stretch of road to Chin
What
Lake.
could happen? What could possibly go wrong?
He sees this other guy who's thinking, oh, it's another Indian. I'm going to pick him up because, we're pals.
Right.
He was dressed in a white jumpsuit. And they're driving along, and he's pretty, taciturn, not talking really at all.
Right.
Come upon a UFO landed in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
The guy in the jumpsuit gets out, goes into the UFO, and comes back out with another guy and pulls him on board. So that turned out to be the first of 3 or 4 experiences.
Jeez. Okay, I'm going to just put this up as a question for you.
And it's loaded, so I'm going to read this slowly. Michael Kennedy asks, what, if any, is the correlation between the locale of sightings as well as within the vicinity of crop circles and high strangeness and the growth mutations within flora and its surroundings?
Yeah, then he goes on
to say, Travis Walton spoke of growth rings being altered was in the vicinity of his experience. Michael knows his stuff.
Right.
That does turn up. There was a case in Colorado where these people were growing carrots in their trailer.
Mm-hmm.
A UFO came down and shined a beam of light on them, and when they woke up in the morning, that carrot was massive and had roots growing all the way down to the floor.
He liked to do everything big, I think.
I wrote all about this in a previous Not From Here, Gardeners. There's another case in Northern California, the Coronado field, and all the grass there grew to twice the height as all the grass formed
Oh
it.
my God.
That turns up again and again. Accelerated growth is what's going on here.
Oh my gosh. Everybody be yelling GMO. It's easier to believe that than, like it's just.
Yeah, one lady had her own garden, right? She's got houses on each side of her, and they're all growing gardens. And she has this UFO come down and shine a light on her garden. Next morning, it's twice as big. And her neighbors are looking over the fence like, hey, what's going on here? And she's like, it's just, I have using my fertilizer.
No. Yeah.
Is it have they gone forward to eat this produce? Are they afraid to try it? Do you ever hear stories about that? Yeah, I tasted the carrot, it was amazing. Or, like seriously.
In the case of the Mexican farmer with the fruit that was 4 times the size. I mean, cabbages that were 60 pounds. There's pictures of them, by the way.
That's a lot of cabbage rolls.
Verified, 100%. And yeah, the people, a giant 10-pound onion. And it tastes great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, I'm wondering, did they test it scientifically for nutrients, or is it, is it better? Yes.
The Mexican government even tried to duplicate it with hiring the best farmers they could find.
Yeah. It's like those giant pumpkins at Halloween. Can you imagine what an alien could do to one of those?
I want a giant pumpkin, just saying, anytime.
Yeah. Don't ask for it too closely, because you might end up with it over your house.
Yeah.
Right on the roof. There you go, Michelle.
Can't even imagine. Put it up on the peak of the tower.
There's a case with Betty Andreasen, very famous.
Mm-hmm.
Her case is well known, I should say,
where
this UFO shines down this beam of light. She's watching this happen on this man, and he shrinks down to like 2 feet high and walks into this miniature UFO, which takes off. And she turns to the gray and says, what the heck was that? And they say, we call that deopulating.
Can we do that to a few politicians?
I found other cases where people were taken on board. One guy called me up. He's like, every time I'm taken, I'm either 3 inches taller or 2 inches shorter. I keep changing heights. That happened to Hunter Gray. He grew like 4 inches. Mind you, he's like 40 years old.
Right.
Is it a health thing, or is it that they just don't get the size right when they bring you back, kind of thing? Or is it, the result of your body going through that?
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Dolly. I think I did ask her about it, actually. I was doing, a research when I was first interviewing Dolly. I'm like, Dolly, I don't suppose you've ever heard of them shrinking down people. She's like, well, yeah. Okay.
Wow.
When
jumps
into a chamber, shined this light on him, and he was like 6 feet tall, shrunk him down to 2 feet, and carves him off. And Dolly turns to Tolada, the entity who's running the ship, and says, "What? Can you do that to me? I want to try that." And they're like, "No, we're not going to do that to you."
Dolly, do it to me,
You come back and your sleeves are here, and your shirt is at your belly. Because I'm laughing because I read it before you posted it. Dolly Savin says interdimensional travel. Yeah, I'm taller sometimes, but you don't come back like Pee Wee Herman, right? Like, wow.
Happened.
That is incredible. That is such an amazing story.
They said there's a macroverse and a microverse.
Right.
You don't think everyone's the same size, do you?
I could use some height, being only 5'4", just saying. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, I'd like my extra couple of inches back too.
I'll take the extra 2. Only two.
Oh yeah.
Take them back from my herniated disc that took it.
Whatever. But you can pop me up a couple of extra inches. I'd be good.
They'll shrink you. You're too tall already. They'll shrink you.
There was a Twilight Zone like that. I always wonder if they could figure something out.
Yeah, she says I'm normally 5'8".
Yeah, you're 4 inches taller than me. Hi,
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, I came back. See, that's what I'm saying. Right there.
And Michelle goes and she comes back 6 feet. We're in trouble.
Oh well, that's again, that's it's interesting. Absolutely, the shrinking thing I would find a bit disturbing. I find it amazing and disturbing all at the same time. You know, because if you have somebody that's having a bad day over there, like nope, machines down, anything like that, you know, you're kind of SOL because you could be 2 inches tall or 2 feet tall for a really long time. So, you know, but it is.
I mean, we all saw that film,
fascinating.
right?
Yeah, it is fascinating to me how they can manipulate like physical things like that, like taking you through a freaking wall. We had a guest on the show not long ago. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Taking you through the wall. Do they take you through the wall? Are you like boom, 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 going right through? Or what did the other guest say?
He said the wall dissipated and I just lost it because nobody's ever said that to me.
Okay.
I went, oh.
I don't know.
The wall dissipated and then they bring the person through. I always understood that the person's energy changed, the vibration, the frequency to match to be able to pass through.
Well, this shows how truly advanced they are. I mean, there was one guy I talked to who has won an award for his service in the military. He wakes up, there's grays around his bed. And I'm like, come on. So he jumps out of bed. He wasn't scared at all. He recognized them as grays.
Right.
Walks out of his living room, and the living room wall is gone. Just gone. And
Right.
walk him out into the backyard, and whoosh. Another guy asked him, like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I'll show you. They basically just showed him that it's a matter of sort of aligning the electrical energies and the protons and neutrons and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's parallels to this in the paranormal world as well. There was Janet Harper from England who was in a haunted house and was being levitated and all this stuff, and once whoosh right through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil's most famous medium who could speak all these dead languages and talk to spirits and cause apparitions in front of 10 scientists and went right through the wall. And so we have that ability.
Right.
So they can't just use the door to get you to the craft?
They have.
No, seriously. All that trouble, you just open the door.
Yeah.
That does happen.
Yeah.
But not as often. No, they'll just take you right through the roof, through the wall. One guy I talked to, Don Anderson, they're taking him through the wall, through the ground, and then up into the craft.
I'm going to have nightmares.
I know, because I know somebody.
Retreat.
Yeah, I know somebody who this happened to, and he said he felt like he was hitting the wall in the window, and he goes, it just felt very strange as it was going through. But I think his panic, you know, he just dropped, like he just fought and just
Remember
dropped.
the Philadelphia experiment?
Yes.
Really electrified this battleship and
yes,
ended up stuck in the bulkheads.
Yes, absolutely. I remember that.
Something to that in terms of what's going on here.
Oh, I got
Matter is not what we
chills.
think it is. Matter is mostly energy. It's crystallized energy to a certain extent.
Right.
That would be one way of looking at this as
Yeah.
analogy. I don't think it's quite that simple.
Right.
But
That makes sense.
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for us. You go ice, water, mist, gas. Like it's not, it's in our everyday life, but we don't use that type of thinking when it comes to us.
We can do everything they can do. We can do too. If you look at
Not better though.
Well, most of us aren't quite there, but there are very advanced, spiritually advanced yogis and who can levitate.
Let's talk levitation. Let's talk about levitation, and because we've had people in the show who have talked about, Dolly being one of them, levitating from a really young age, like as a toddler, and we've had a couple people come on and say that. So let's talk levitation.
Yeah, I really started to wonder about this because there's a very famous case from Jacques Vallée,
Yes,
real pioneer in this field.
Yes.
been around. I'm researching, I think, before I was born.
Yeah. He's pretty well renowned.
And he had this case of a medical doctor in France who lived near the Pyrenees, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere in France, anyway. Who had a UFO show up and healed him of an axe wound on his foot and partial paralysis. It's a pretty standard UFO healing case.
Yeah.
And healed of 2 different things, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But following this, so like 2 weeks later, he's walking, like I think it was up the stairs or down the stairs, and just floats right up. And there's no UFO outside, mind you. This is him using internal energies levitating. Happened twice. Really freaked him out because he couldn't control it.
Right.
This happened to Whitley Strieber. This was in one of his, I don't think it was Communion, it may have been, or the next book, Transformation.
Yeah.
Where he just wakes up, he's like, why is the bed on the roof? The ceiling. And then he realized, no, it's me on the ceiling.
It's me, yeah.
Down in bed, and he's not in it.
Right.
And he's floating around. And again, this is not the UFO beaming you out.
This is him.
Him.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
He wrote about this where he's 17 years old. He has this wonderful experience with the Greys, and they're meditating and giving cosmic consciousness. And like, okay, time to go.
Mm-hmm.
They set him out, and he's running home because he's so excited. He starts levitating, floating down the trail. And he said it happened a couple of years later. He's kind of just meditating, and next thing he knows, he's floating above the trail. So I started looking into this and collecting cases, and I found a lot. I'm like so shocked. I interviewed one guy personally. His name is Maurice. He's like, oh yeah, me and my little sister were taken. They dropped us off in the house. We were just little kids. We went down to the basement to play. And we started jumping up to the ceiling and down, and we played with it for an hour, just flying around the basement.
Wow.
Kidding. Another case, a Marine, a military officer, a good witness. He was a unionizer, working with other people to get better wages, a really good guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at age 5, was taken on board a craft over a period of weeks, several times.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in San Fernando, California, in the 1950s, 54 about. And he comes home one day after, wakes up one morning. And it's like, Mom, he's trying to tell her what is happening to him. And she's like, not really receptive.
Mm-hmm.
Goes back into his room and starts levitating. And did it over and over. And finally he runs back to the kitchen like, Mom, I flew. And she's like, go outside and play. So he's playing hide and seek, and whoosh, he goes up to the top of the building to see where everybody is, all the kids. Comes back down, like, I found you. And they freaked out. Levitated again. They had to call the fire department because he ended up on the top of this building that was locked. There's no way to get up there. Parents, how did he get up there? They did not ask him because he would have told them, I flew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a tough one. So do you think it's something that, like in the case where the brother and sister, they had just been brought back down. So this is something maybe, because I imagine on these ships, the atmosphere is different. Everything is different. Much like astronauts that go into space, they have to train, and their bodies just do different things. They just react differently. Do you think these people just come back with this after the fact? Or because in Dolly's case, she was, like I said, she was levitating as a little person, like 18 months old.
Yeah. And on through childhood and even up into adulthood.
Yeah.
I think I figured out exactly what's going on here.
Okay, I want in.
I started really looking into it. There was a case of a lady in Mount Rainier.
Right.
Several suited guys come visit her. She had physical evidence, was feeling a little unwell after the experience, but goes to work and sits down in front of her computer and blows it out, right? And then calls the IT guy, and she's like, I blew out my computer, fix it, and goes to the copier and blows it out. calls the IT guy. She's like, really sorry.
Yeah.
Goes to the fax machine, blows it out. So what's going on here? Because this turns up with contactees. They will buzz up TVs, radios, light bulbs. Contactees have a huge light bulb budget.
Am I gone yet?
She
How
does
about
it all
toaster
the time.
ovens? Phones, cell
we have-
phones. Does
yeah.
that happen? Oh, God.
So we have this bioelectric field around us, our aura, right?
Mhm.
And I wrote a book on human levitation. I really looked into it. It's an absolute true phenomenon. It's in every culture.
Mhm.
Some 300 plus cases, stretching back a couple of thousand years. This is our bioelectric field being activated. This is how it's happening. It's kind of related to astral travel in a way.
Yeah.
But because people levitate on board craft, and it's not because there's no gravity there. Gravity on board a craft is usually slightly less than Earth normal.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because people
That's
say,
what I was trying to say earlier. So thank you for explaining that.
but they're floating around because they're activated. They're in that vibe.
Right.
So this is what I think is happening. It's a spiritually transformative experience.
Right.
ETs love people who are psychic in any way, and if you have any chance of developing this, they are going to help you along.
They do. They do.
Ray Hernandez about this. I'm like, don't suppose you have any cases? He's like, yeah, my friend Albert Fernandez, he levitated. I'm like, I am not surprised.
Wow. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that time of year. Yeah.
That's amazing to me. And it just seems so nonchalant to those while they're doing it. Oh, yes, except for Whitley, who woke up in the ceiling going, "Where the heck is this?"
The actual, yeah.
So next time you're taken and they set you down, give it a try. Couldn't hurt.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just curious because my husband always says you and electronics don't mix. And I mean everything brand new. It doesn't matter. Somehow I break everything.
Okay, Amelia, just get into a nice cross-legged position. Go om.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's time to go back to meditation.
Oh yeah. She's in denial though.
No, it's really bad. Like the toaster ovens are ridiculous. How many I go through. They're just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I break everything. Hair dryers, anything you plug in does not last long with me. Yeah, most people have a flat iron for like 4 years. I'm lucky if I get to 8 months with it and I have to replace it. And they're expensive.
Yeah.
So I do ground, Dolly.
I went to my bathroom once and I concentrated on trying to burn out a light bulb. And I couldn't, there's 4 little those vanities. And I sat there for like 10 minutes staring at this light bulb and nothing happened. And I go back into my bathroom some hours later and I turn on the light and zap, the one right next to it went out. I'm like, whoa!
Good for you.
I did it, but it was a delayed reaction there.
Right.
I like Tamara's idea. She wore a grounding wire. It's funny.
Idea,
I love that.
That's
let's
funny.
get that in before.
Oh yeah, let's do the sponsor and station ID that we can go again.
Yes, so we can continue giving you great shows like this.
Yes.
You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live on 105.3 FM radio from the gorgeous city of New Orleans. Tonight's guest, returning guest, and dear friend Preston Dennett is here, and we are talking his new book. We're discussing Not From Here, Volume 4, and all of the different stories that he has and the real experiences that he's sharing with everyone in his books. A shout out and thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one. Thank you for your support and your continuing sponsorship. And also a huge thank you for our intro and outro to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. He's dropping music clips so that you can listen, and he's just got honorable mentions and an award and one another. He's constantly winning awards. He's amazing. Stream or listen to our archives on the platform you normally use. We are literally everywhere. Simply search United Public Radio and then the Outer Realm, and you'll be able to find us. And remember to subscribe and like us too, especially if you're listening or watching us on Facebook or on YouTube right now. Please give us a like.
Show us some love. And I'm going to be a harpy about this commercial, so I'm going to play one just for you, just so it's in Preston's episode.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Thank you, Dolly. So see, we're a harpy, and we're gonna have millions of people that are gonna hear
Played
this
it last
forever.
week too.
It's true.
We
So
love
there we
this
go.
one.
Dolly's
Yeah.
probably going, oh, not again. It's true. We have a whole list of them that we do, but we thought this would be appropriate.
We love
So
hers. Yeah.
that's right. So get us some bloody Folgers. Michael, give us a commercial.
Yes.
He's always
Because
putting it up
you're
there.
constantly promoting them in the chat room. 'cause
Dolly,
that's the
oh my
commercial.
God.
Promote yourself too, Michael.
There
Promote
we go.
yourself. Just make sure that you're not only using the word Folgers, but you're also have it in the camera
Has
shot.
to be. So
Yeah.
Dolly just went, oh my God, after I played that. I knew she would. I knew she would.
She's adorable.
Okay, here's another question.
Yes, Adrian, hello. Preston, do you think the ability to move small objects without touching is enhanced with atmospheric conditions? Sometimes I can and sometimes I cannot.
Possibly. If there's a lot of electricity in the air, that could be a minor factor. Ultimately, I do think this is internally generated. Certainly looked into this. There's a lot of poltergeist cases which researchers are pretty much sure this is a person who is having some strong emotions connected to this. Often when people, when they get like super angry, things will start popping around, and so I think it's connected to our emotions to a certain extent. When I'm OBE, I can do it with ease, but sometimes I have to swear at the object, like, you damn thing, get over here right now.
That's funny.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, telekinesis has been verified in a laboratory setting. This is absolutely a real ability, and I think they measured one lady, Nina Kulagina, from Russia, who could do it fairly regularly. She had magnetic pulses coming out of her hands, which were easily measured with instruments.
Right.
So there's definitely, that is an ability.
Yeah, that's not one I have.
So let's talk about the most popular day of the year to have your experience. Okay, listen in, people, if you want it. This is a day.
There's a popular day.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
Is it a festival for them? Like what?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
This is
Most
so
common
weird.
day of the year, I guess.
UFOs are seen throughout the year, and it does seem to spike a little bit in the summer months. But I kept hearing people telling me, "Oh, they come on the 4th of July." And I'm like, "Well, shut up! You saw it. That's what you saw. I don't want to hear it." Because for me, as a researcher, coming from as a skeptic, I became even more skeptical, ironically, because I don't know, I felt a little bit scandalized, and I had to readjust my whole worldview. And it's the worst day to see a UFO, in my opinion, other than maybe April 1st, which is equally bad. I don't want, I mean,
You really do have a sense of humor.
So I'm like, okay, after I got some good cases that clearly weren't fireworks, right?
Right.
These were ships with portholes, and the witnesses were absolutely sincere. Like, they're watching the fireworks, I'm telling you. I'm like, okay, let me look into this. And just on a whim, not really thinking I would find anything, I went to some databases like MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and Fork to start.
Right.
The UFO Reporting Center, which receive about, on averaging here, 10 to 20 sightings per day. 20 would be a really good day. 10 would be average, and sometimes a couple. And it's the 4th of July, and I'm like, oh no, there's like 50 to 100 sightings on the 4th of July. Every darn 4th of July.
Oh,
Okay. So Dolly says, go ahead.
thank you. She said they see color way better than we do. Fireworks excite them big time. Well, it doesn't excite the PTSD vets and the dogs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this was
I have
absolutely
mixed feelings on fireworks.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of bombs, really.
No, they're very beautiful to watch.
I'm with
The
you on
effect it
that.
has on the neighborhood is really sad, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty, but no,
Right.
not if you've been to war. Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I said with people with PTSD.
all the way through August. I'm like, please just stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, well, that would explain if what Dolly is saying. They're intrigued by the fireworks, and that seems to be. But I mean, 4th of July, that's United States. I mean, they're, I guess, in this side of the world.
Well, the most population, but Adrian's got a great point. More people are looking up, so more sightings. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
With the fireworks, you are looking up.
Yeah, that's a really important point, and I absolutely thought of that because my first thought was, okay, people are seeing fireworks, sky lanterns, party lanterns, a little candle with a paper wrap, flies up, and they can get really strange looking. They can, reach 4,000 feet in height. I looked into it, and they last for about 15 minutes. They can be hovering still in the sky and look like a saucer or an orb. And they can dart, in the wind. And they can move in tandem because they're all catching the same.
We've seen little things like that down here. They just go right over the hood of the car, or you see something obscure just go floating out like where they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So it's
on that day are sky lanterns, but I don't think a lot of them are, because some people are seeing craft with portholes and there's little figures looking down. They
can't see.
That is not a part of
we've encountered that, but yeah.
These are some really cool cases, and I think they're looking at the fireworks because they show up right before the show and they leave when the show's over. Often, and they're there for an hour or 2 hours.
You guys have long shows, so ours are like 20 minutes max. Can I ask a question off topic? Because with that comment about looking up and seeing things, I want to go back to, I'd love your opinion on this, both of you. 9/11, we had that, no flight for how many ever days that it went on. And were they present? Because we were constantly, did you have sightings? Because we're constantly, I know me, I live near an airport, always have my entire life. It doesn't matter where I lived, I've always lived near an airport. And I wonder, I kept looking to see when the planes would fly. And I remember seeing the first plane, I had tears of joy that we kind of took that back, Did you notice that there were more sightings or with any of the cases, any of the people that you've spoken to?
No, Amelia. Now I have a new research project.
There we go. Volume 6.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Thanks, Amelia, at the beginning of that too. But I'm just curious because until, we had that comment about constantly looking up, I thought right away, immediately, I was brought back to that day because I thought we often hear so many times how disturbed they are by the way we treat each other. And I can't imagine the effect that had on them. I mean, the world was affected.
Yeah, but even with no air traffic, it makes you wonder, were they hesitant to fly? Because they surely would have been noticed. It's like going back to ancient times where there were no airplanes. You saw something in the sky. It's like, oh, right? Wow, that's something.
Just like Adrian wrote, maybe explosions disturb cloaking devices.
Well, there is one 4th of July case where the guy noticed the craft because there was so much smoke in the air and it was swirling around this empty area.
Yeah.
I just wonder, because I remember constantly looking to see if a plane was flying yet. I was like so excited when I saw that first because they fly literally in my backyard pretty low, but Tamara says, do you think more people are open so they see more things?
Now, you mean open to, can you be specific? Open, are people more open to wanting to see or have this experience?
I think if you're, because I know people who absolutely refuse to look at something that's flying over their head that's unusual. They're like, I'm not looking, go away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not listening. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're open to it. And contactees, you should go out with them. They will see anything in the sky. They're hyper aware. Like, look, I was out with Wendy, I'll call her. She's like, stop the car. There's a itty bitty white dot. Wait, I'm like, how the hell did you see that? Are you out of your mind?
Stop the car, go over the cliff, or go over.
Stop the car always brings me back to the IKEA commercial. Stop the car. Was it like that?
Oh my gosh. That is funny.
But yeah,
but it is true.
Going back to, people being outside, more likely to see them. I think this is basic. I mean, these are simple sightings for the most part, right? I mean, there are humanoids in some of them, and they are affecting the environment in a few cases, but mostly what we call close encounters of the first kind. But I'm going to call every single one of these 4th of July sightings a close encounter of the 5th kind.
Right.
This is human initiated. This is a way to bring them down.
Yes.
They are coming.
I think it's great.
See, maybe the Italians knew when they invented them.
Yeah. I you know what? I mean, there's Russian scientists did this back in the 70s or the 80s. They stopped. When they were doing research on UFOs, there was this one airfield they used to go to, and they used to come in. ET and crafts would come in. They said, we don't have to go anywhere. We know how to bring them here. Yep. Russian scientists. That's how many years ago now?
Wow.
Yeah, Jimmy Lorenzen figured that out years ago. They're like, every time we build a nuclear power station or a new air base or a power factory or anything that's any scientific sort of technology, they come down to investigate it. They were predicting sightings right and left.
There you go. I think it's been there. So let's talk about our world leaders and sightings with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I have not had a chance to really talk about that.
Okay. I think it's a good one because of all the disclosure and everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very famous case with Jimmy Carter, right? Which was in 1975, which is fairly well known. He was with 11 people. He was just about to become governor. He stuck to his guns, even though people tried to debunk it. Right. His mother said, "Oh yeah, he's super excited about it." And in an interview, he said, I think it might have been a sign that I was supposed to, be entering politics, because this was towards the beginning of his political career. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's the very famous Ronald Reagan sighting over California, following, or he was in a plane, right? UFO appeared. And this was again when he was becoming governor. That was 1974. Right. So I'm like, I wonder if there are other presidents, because supposedly Richard Nixon showed Jackie Gleason bodies. Yes. He never went with that, so I didn't really go there.
No. Apparently, Gleason cried after that. Apparently,
somebody told us that story. Yeah,
we covered it on. Yeah.
But I didn't, because he never went public. I wanted people who actually talked about it, and I was shocked to find out that there's a long list of highly placed world leaders who claim to have had contact. The earliest I could find was
Truman, Eisenhower.
Yeah, well, they didn't go public. Eisenhower never said a darn word.
Did Reagan go public with the ship?
I think Truman did. There's literature and newspaper clippings everywhere.
He made some statements. I don't think he ever said he actually saw one.
Oh, yeah.
Who, Reagan or Truman?
Truman.
Reagan did, until he realized what he was saying.
He was like, crap.
Yeah.
You can't take that shit back. So,
It's out of the tube. Sorry.
It's on the tube right now. It's on YouTube. That clip is everywhere.
No take backs, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I found lots of Congress people all across the U.S. And the first one was the first Congresswoman in Arizona. Isabella King, a real pioneer, saw a UFO in 1952 in Arizona, and public was a brief sighting of a glowing object. But then another case leaked out with Senator Richard Russell, Georgia. This was a very famous case in 1955, which he didn't want to talk about, but it was too late. So that came out, and I'm like, are there more? Yes. Colorado State Senator S.T. Taylor saw one in 1955. Florida Governor Hayden Burns said one followed his plane. He didn't want to talk about it until everyone was coming out saying, oh, we saw UFOs in that area at that time. And the public. But what really interested me was, Governor John Gilligan in 1973 saw a UFO, and it sent on a beam of light. And it was 1 year later when Reagan did, and 1 year after that Jimmy Carter did. This started to show a pattern where they're showing themselves to world leaders. And of course, Ohio State Representative Dennis Kucinich, who was outed during his campaign, didn't help too much, I don't think. But
yeah. Well, no, because they don't want to talk about things like that. I think when Roswell happened, that was a game changer moving forward, and now with disclosure, we've done 300. They've tackled 300 investigations, and 150 of them they don't know. They can't say what it is. What do you think? Why do you think they would want to appear to these world leaders? They know we're pretty messed up down here. Why do you think?
Because world leaders are influential. They have a platform. These are the people who are supposed to be putting forth policy to, help the people, protect our planet, do the right thing. Seeing a UFO can be a very transformative experience. I think they're doing it to say, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Right. We're here.
Helpful. It's a cliche, take me to your leader.
Yes.
The fact is, they are and have. And I think the cases I found, which are about 20.
Wow.
And it's not just, the Mexican president saw one, Brazilian president, President of Iran, I think it was.
And they're talking about it, like they spoke about it.
Yeah. These are just the people who've spoken out loud. I'm guessing almost all of them who have seen this have not, because, it can be political suicide.
I'll do this one first. Yeah.
Yeah, Dolly says they flat out want them to stop nuclear proliferation.
And we have a question here for you as well.
Natalie Closon, hello, welcome. Asks, are there any correlations between brain types, ADD, autism, etc., and people who see UFOs? That's a good question.
Yep, maybe. The fact is, all people see UFOs. Contact is far, far more widespread than people realize. 1 in 20, 1 in 40, thereabouts.
Do you think it's more prevalent to contact the experiencers or everyday people who maybe just don't think they are or never have been?
Contact can take place in all different levels. Some people will just have a simple sighting, and that's enough.
Right.
Some people will have telepathic contact, or perhaps be inspired in a way that they're not even aware of. Or will have full-on contact and not know it for years because they're just not ready, or it's not helpful for them to know it. But yes, there are quite a few people who are on what I would call the spectrum. And I don't like labels. I really don't. In some ways, Asperger's people are super intelligent, really smart.
My nephew has that. Yeah.
Right.
So, and to look down upon it is a mistake because it's not true.
No, he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I could see that.
So yeah, I do see that sometimes, but all different. It's, we're so much alike. We're all one.
I agree.
I don't want to be divisive in any way and say, oh no, you have to be on the spectrum, because it's not true.
Right.
But
You don't.
But it's people of all blood types. Someone wants, how come no black people see UFOs? I'm like,
As they do.
hold on a second. There's one more for one.
I got stories. Yeah.
And I started looking at my files. I'm like, well, there's Pacific Islanders I've interviewed, Asians, Latinos, I mean, name it.
It's everyone.
Oh, first interracial couple was the first to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Betty
I
and
mean,
Barney
that's,
Hill. Yeah.
yeah.
Blood type. It's not, it's not political affiliation. I asked. I'm like,
Right.
they're only contacting one party. No.
Right.
It's not religion. I've talked to people who are really religious,
Mm-hmm.
and some who are absolutely atheist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They contact everybody. People who score really well on tests and people who don't like school.
Mm-hmm. Right. As we slowly get to the top of the hour, Michael's got a question there.
Okay. Michael Kennedy asked Preston, what is the overall most expressed messages from ET?
Great way to top it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have no fear. That is number one. Do not be afraid. That's the first thing they will tell you.
Right.
I think that's actually sage advice that we should all embrace completely in our lives. But
Right.
their main message when they move beyond that is definitely warnings about nuclear proliferation, as Dolly mentioned. That's huge. Our waterways, polluting our atmosphere and our waters, waking up psychically.
Mm-hmm.
These are
It's going back to the basics, isn't it?
Yes. Just be a normal human.
Right.
Good.
Normal. I don't know. It's kind of
Maybe
like
we're the
overrated.
normal ones. Maybe
No,
we're the
kidding.
normal ones and everybody else is
That's
weird.
I'm telling you, what's happening to us is being dumbed down and not being psychic is abnormal.
Yes,
We are
I agree.
supposed to be clairvoyant.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So do you think that we need to concern ourselves with false flags? Do you think that's coming next?
Yes.
I mean, if we've purposely been dumbed down, then I can't see with all the time and money and everything that's been put into dumbing us down over decades or, in the last century or whatever the case may be. I can't see them just all of a sudden, let's us be love, light, and love. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can't see it. I can't see them doing it that easily.
But yeah, false flag is all the buzz in the field. I think there's a lot of good evidence pointing towards the fact that I won't say our governments so much, but the cabal, the one percenters, the military complex, the highest level of the military industrial complex.
Well, it's a money-making machine, though, right? War is money.
Yeah,
military is money.
Isn't that a good idea?
Right.
Yeah. I'm very concerned about it. Their history on this subject is heinous. I love that word because it describes
heinous. Yeah.
Heinous.
I like it. Okay.
We use that word a lot in criminology.
Heinous. I know. The word of the day. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we should be. I think it's time for us to stop looking to our government for answers on this subject because they're not going to give them. We need to turn inward, wake ourselves up, move past fear, become self-sufficient, develop our psychic abilities, love and compassion guide our actions, prepare for great changes because our planet is going through a cycle right now that could be a big deal.
You're the best, Preston. You're the best. You're the goat of this industry.
Let's go with dodgy. Yeah. Heinous and dodgy. Yes. So I guess we're going to have a bit of a bumpy ride, so to speak. But I think you just have to come back and just come back with some amazing stories. I mean, I don't know. Can we wait till book
Tell me all about that 9/11 thing.
Yeah. Definitely have to let us know when the next book, whatever it is you're going to come out with, because it's always interesting. I just sort of scrolled down the list, and for anybody interested, just go and look up, go to YouTube or go to Facebook, wherever you're watching it. I posted the whole list in the show. Everything's there. All of, Preston's social media. You can get in there and connect with them if you've got stories you want to share for another book, maybe, so we can bring them back on faster. So
I'm just saying.
Right, there we go. I love it. So yeah, there's wealth of information. So this is the part of the show where you promote yourself, tell us what you have coming up, where you're going, what you're doing, just promote.
Yeah, I might be having some upcoming TV appearances. So I've done a few interviews, but
Good.
I'm not gonna say because sometimes I end up on the cutting floor.
We all do.
Dang creative control or lack
I
of.
hear your voice from the other room and I run to the TV. Don't change the channel. It's Preston. And I sit down just to listen to you. Your voice is so unique and so calming.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well.
But yeah, I'm not from here. It was just released, so
Right.
that's brand new. And there will be a volume 5. And
Is there like an ETA on the volume 5 or
probably sometime next year?
Yes. Okay.
Towards the end of the year.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't think we could wait that long to bring you on. So maybe I'm just going to go down the list of your books and maybe see about,
Maybe we have another book put out by, March or May.
That works because we just happen to be booking into March and May. So
and you can tell us what volume 6 is going to be about.
Well, let's finish volume 5 first.
Yes. And then volume
Come on,
6, you got to incorporate my idea.
Don't be slacking off. Let's get those books out.
Yeah.
The guy's got like $25, come on, keep at it. So, but thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it is always such a pleasure having you on. It's always just so informative, so laid back. You're a wealth of information. You have fantastic stories. And I'll say it again. I love how you just make us all look like we really are one, and we shouldn't be fearing anything that's being put out there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the universe is fun. I'm having a blast.
Are you? I want to have a blast too. I don't know. Get out of my house. Just take me to the stars for a change.
Oh my gosh. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
I've done it.
It'll be fine.
Yes. Oh, I'm never concerned. It's I think just more of a curiosity as to why some of them do some of the things that they do. Amelia and I'll be talking like, what the fuck is that about? Yeah.
I do this research. I want to know too. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, they don't talk to me, so
sometimes it just feels like I have a bunch of toddlers in the house, and I'm not kidding. It's there's no spirits, that aren't resident here. It's just a lot of noise. Like they're just very noisy. Like they're just bumping into things, and they're just, dogs like, oh yeah. Sometimes those little AIs do that. Well, crap sakes, like just like walk right by in the middle of a show. Sometimes you see me kind of go. I'm asking, did you walk by there? She goes like, I wouldn't dare. Okay. It's like,
I hope that happens. That would be so cool.
Yeah, well,
what's that behind you?
It's people have seen stuff, or they hear stuff on the shows and they listen to, and they go back and listen to it. So anything's possible, but I don't know. Hey, let the excitement begin. I'm down. But thank you again for joining us, and I will be in touch with you soon, and let's book another date.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, night, Preston. Well, we have come to the end of another fantastic segment here on the Outer Realm, and big thank you to Preston Dennett. Honestly, he really is. I mean it. When I say it, he's just awesome to have on. His stories are fantastic. And if you notice the theme of Preston's stories, tonight there were some pretty obscure ones. I thought they were pretty amazing. I still have to be a harpy on the fertilizer. That one really is intriguing to me for whatever reason. I am very, very intrigued.
Yeah.
But I love how he shows unison. And to me, I think that's very important, especially in this day and age. So big thank you to Preston for joining us once again. He's one of our frequent flyers, and we really do love having him on. Jenny, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern is usually when the show runs. So you're welcome back anytime. And you can catch the archive. Will be up like it's all right. You can
Shortly.
catch it on Facebook and just start over.
Yeah.
But anyway, big thank you. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee who sponsor our show. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, for your voice, your music. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, guys, wherever you're watching, on whatever platform you are on, like us, subscribe, join, follow, whatever the case may be. We appreciate you as well. Thank you for being in chat. We have 8 platforms, just so you know. So if we have not been able to get to some of you guys, we have 8 different chat rooms that all come into one. So we do try to keep up with everything as we move along, however. So thank you, guys. You just make the show that much better. If you want to communicate with us, outerrealmcontact@gmail.com. The outerrealmcontact@gmail.com. And you can just go even to the Outer Realm Facebook page, get on in there, just click email. Best way to get us. So thank you. Now, tomorrow night, for the very first time, we have somebody really interesting as well coming on. It's going to be just a great week for it. Todd Wilcox, known as the Slipstream Shaman. And he's going to take you all on a journey into the quantum field as he discusses how you can learn to use your natural abilities in quantum healing. Thinking, all right, I think I'm down. Some of this is going to be a little bit deep, but it's going to be good. So put your seatbelts on, get your questions ready, and meet us back in whatever chat room you're in tonight. So thank you guys and for tuning in. And Michael, it's always a pleasure. So thank you, thank you. Great story, Preston. Yes, we're just putting up a little bit of everything. There we go.
Jenny, stay safe. Yeah.
There we go. Absolutely. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.